what's going on, you guys? Welcome to another guitar lesson. This one's all about pinch harmonics. I know you've been probably waiting for it for a while, so here it is. Anyway, as always, there's some preliminaries. Be sure to check out my previous lessons because those ones are going to build up to get to this point. It's a pretty advanced technique to do pinch harmonics, so if you don't have a great tone, if you don't have a great picking technique, you're not going to be able to do pinch harmonics. And as always, our website is redishshredder.com. Got a lot of information there, tabs and everything for all these lessons, and a lot of other information. And I always tune all of my guitar strings down a whole step, but I'll still refer to everything as if I was in standard tuning, so if you want to play along. You just heard a bunch of pinch harmonics. That's all it is just a bunch of really high-pitched, kind of squealing sounds. That's really all there is to it. They're actually really easy to do. All you have to do is hit the guitar string with your pick and your thumb at the same time rather than just the edge of your pick. And that's all there is to it, but of course it's a little bit harder than that. So if you want to kind of get a visual of it, pretend like my string is, pretend like my finger is a string. What's going to happen is I'm going to pick the string, and then just as the pick clears the string, I'm going to let my thumb brush up gently along the side of the string. So it'll look just like this. Hit the string and then let your thumb brush up. And the key is just to be very gentle. That's the main part of it. If you hear kind of like just a dull thud sound and you don't hear that squealing sound, you're probably maybe doing it a little bit too hard. But there's more to it than that, which I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so there's two parts to making a pinch harmonic. The first is actually getting that sound rather than just getting the thud. So that basically means not muting the string. The second part is making them sound good. So if you want to know how to make them sound good, all you have to do is check out my previous lessons. You're going to want to have a really good metal sound, a high output pickup. You're going to want to use a lot of vibrato and stuff like that. So we're going to focus on the first one and just how to achieve the actual pinch harmonic sound. And I think that it helps to learn the physics of the pinch harmonics a little bit. So, but before we do that, we have to define a couple of these definitions. So the first thing you got to understand is that this is all there is to pinch harmonics. Vibrating strings have these certain things called node points along places called integer divisions, and so that's a lot of big words and everything, but it actually is pretty simple. And so what a vibrating string means is just a guitar string. It can mean other strings too, like violin strings, piano strings. It can even mean like a stretched out rubber band or like a giant steel suspension cable that's holding up a bridge, but of course we'll just worry about guitar strings. So whenever I talk about vibrating strings, I'm going to be talking about the length of the vibration of the string that actually produces the sound. So for open guitar strings, that length is from the nut to the bridge. And then whenever you fret a string, anywhere you fret it, let's say I fret it right here, the vibration, the length of the string that produces the sound is from the fret to the bridge. Okay? And the next thing I talk about, a node point. All a node point is just a place where you can get a harmonic sound. So that's all it is. And then an integer division is certain places where you can get these like actual harmonic sounds, and I'll show you them. The most common integer division is 1/2. So the halfway point. And so what that means is, let's say you have an open guitar string from the nut to the bridge. Remember I told you that's the length of the sound, right? The part of the string that's producing the actual sound. So the halfway point between the nut and the bridge is the 12th fret. And that's why it's kind of like a special one. It's got the two little dots there and everything. That's like a special spot. It's an octave. So we're going to talk about, before we talk about pinch harmonics, we have to talk about natural harmonics first, so we can like build our way up. So on the 12th fret you have this thing called a natural harmonic, and in order to get that natural harmonic, to hear it, all you have to do is just lightly touch the string rather than like muting the string, and well, you're going to mute it just a little bit, but you're not going to fret it. You're not going to fret it too hard. If you just let your finger rest on that 12th fret, you can hear a natural harmonic. It sounds like this. Okay? And so one thing that a natural harmonic has is this 12th, I should say this halfway point. One property it has is that the margin for error is really wide. So if you're like a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, doesn't matter, you'll still hear that harmonic sound. But the downside is it's not really high pitched, doesn't sound like a really squealing sound. That is. Okay, so there's other integer divisions just like that halfway point that are all symmetric from the halfway point. So what I mean is, as you go out away from the halfway point like this, you'll find more and more integer divisions, and they're symmetric. So let's say you have a harmonic, natural harmonic sound here, you'll get the same one right here, assuming that you're exactly symmetric or whatever. As you get farther away from the middle, these harmonics become more higher pitched, more squealing sounding, but then the margin for error that I talked about becomes a lot smaller. They become harder to hear. So if you just do something like this, if you just rest your finger on the string and just play it, going up and down the string, you can hear those. So I'll do it for you right now. Here's the natural harmonic I talked about. And then you get farther away. See, up here they're really high pitched, but they're harder to achieve. And so that takes us actually to our next topic, which is touch harmonic, which is actually very similar to a regular natural harmonic, but for touch harmonics we're primarily going to be talking about fretting notes that are fretted, or strings that are fretted. So remember how I said when you fret a string it's going to vibrate from the fret to the bridge? So what you've done is you've changed the length of the string, the length of the part of the string that vibrates to make the sound. So we have to find the middle point again. So an easy trick to do that is just add 12 to whatever fret you're on. So if you think about it, if the open string is a 0, and open, you add 12, so it's 12th fret. But if you, let's say, play any string on the 7th fret, you just add 12. 7 plus 12 is 9. So if you can get that same natural harmonic on the 7 plus 12 is 19. My bad. 7 plus 12, 19. If you fret the string at the 7th fret, you can get a natural or a touch harmonic at the 19th fret. So I'll just show you that real quick. And our 19th fret is right here. Okay, that's the touch harmonic there. So in order to do touch harmonic, all you're going to do is just reach over and gently mute the string again, just as if you were playing natural harmonic. But you don't tap on it, you don't hit it hard, you just gently mute it. Alright, so that's that. Now we're ready to move on to pinch harmonics. Now, going back to touch harmonics, like I said, you just fret a note and then hit it and then reach over and mute it with your, let's say, your tapping finger or whatever. Now imagine doing that exact same thing, but instead of reaching over and muting it, what if you hit the string and then muted it at the exact same time with the edge of your thumb? That's all a touch harmonic is. And so the reason that a lot of people have difficulty with them is because most people just start trying to play the pinch harmonics with their picking hand like in a normal place, like down here near the bridge. Now remember what I said though, harmonics that are far away from the middle point, over here and over here, have a very small margin for error, so it's harder to get them down here. So what I like to do is just train hitting those pinch harmonics at the easier spots. So of course in this case it's going to be the halfway point, so let's just use the same example I talked about before. Let's say you're playing a note on the 7th fret, 7 plus 12 is 19. Try to hit a pinch harmonic over the 19th fret. See, it's a lot easier that time. And so, yeah, that's a really good way to train yourself, and as you get better, you can move your way slowly down. And you can hear all those other hear all those other types of harmonics as you get farther away. Okay, so what we've learned is that your right hand placement actually makes a big difference when you're playing those pinch harmonics. So if you're having a hard time with them, try moving your hand around a little bit and you might hit them a little bit better. Like for example, if you're trying to hit pinch harmonics on lower strings, on lower frets, you might need to jump up a little bit. That's why you see a lot of those death metal guitar players do stuff like this. They might jump up just a little bit to do that. And you should feel it once again on your on the edge of your right hand thumb. And then you can always add some other stuff, like you can add slides to your pinch harmonics. And then you can try doing pinch harmonics on multiple strings. And then you can add the two together and do all kinds of crazy stuff like this. Alright you guys, well thanks for watching, I hope that helps out, and let me know if you have any questions. Alright, peace.